Hey, I'm Adam Thompson. I'm a consultant in strategy and organisational design. You want more ownership, you want more engagement, you want your people to take more accountability. Well, I'm going to show you a mindset and a number that'll help you do exactly that. Let's get right into it. Okay, standard managerial hierarchy drawn like this. Standard managerial hierarchy, and you can see by the way it looks, it almost gives us a certain sort of vibe. Now, a much more modern and the sort of thing we're looking for looks a bit more like this. Now look at that, much nicer. We're sitting in a circle, a little bit kumbaya and that sort of thing.
Kumbaya. Wait, anyway, kumbaya, kumbaya.
But this isn't entirely cynical. The idea is we want people to feel engaged, we want people to take ownership of the work, we want them to be involved. So this sort of shape definitely is a much more nicer shape than that sort of shape. Here's the problem. If you're working in a managerial accountable hierarchy, you're still aware, if you're this manager character, that you do have certain accountabilities. So our question is, how do we hold both in our mind to take accountability for the team as well as providing people with ownership? Let me do a couple of colours. First I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to do this. So what we're saying here is that we do have a role in the team that's a bit different to the other ones. And this is a role we can traditionally call the manager. How do we actually adopt a mindset? Remember, it's not that this isn't real, but it's not tangible. How do we adopt a mindset that allows us to still manage this team while being a part of it? And this is where the work of Peter Block in his brilliant book, Stewardship, comes in. And the magical number is 51%. What you do, if you're in this role here, you act like, and remember, act like, it's not actually the case, but you act like you're all in business together, you are all partners in business together, you are all owners of what the work is, except this person here in the managerial role is the 51% owner of the organisation. In other words, they have the majority shareholding. In the end, if there's not agreement, they can make the decisions. Yes, you could argue it's set up exactly the same as this, but remember, we're talking about a mindset change, because think about how it works if you're in partnership with someone. If you're in partnership, there's certain things you wouldn't do. You wouldn't hide bad news from them. You wouldn't sign them up to training without talking to them about what the training actually involves. You would more rapidly get over any anxiety you've got about providing feedback because you're all owners together, so you need to be able to tell each other what's going on.
You know, it's just occurred to me we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
I blame myself.
So do I.
And the fundamental thing underneath all of this is you would treat each other like adults. You would stop parenting people because you're partners together, so you're not their parent. But at the same time, because you are in it together, you'll still maintain the care. You don't get that weird thing where you either over-care for people as if you're their parent looking after them, or you decide, I'm not your parent, and you leave them alone altogether. The trick is to not parent people while maintaining human connection.
You okay?
The fairy princess castle has defeated me.
And at the same time, assume the role of the 51% owner, which means if it's time to make a decision and take charge, then you do on behalf of all the partners. And it's also the job of the other people involved to know that they have a right to have their say, but when it comes down to it, they are not the majority owner. So in the end, it's this person's job to make the call. It requires a lift of everyone in terms of the level of adult maturity, but it can be done. By the way, what does the 51% partner do? It does these things. First, get clear on who funds us, why they fund us, who we serve, and how we're doing. Remember, funding can come from invoices, but for most of us, funding comes because someone who's higher up in the hierarchy provides us with a bunch of money, which we primarily use on salary.
I need more money, Steve.
Billy.
I need more money.
We don't have any
I can't
more money,
compete
Billy.
against a $120 million payroll with $38 million.
And with that funding, we're expected to serve a bunch of people by providing them a bunch of stuff. And the second category of things we need to do is name conversations. Now, anyone can name a conversation, but it's a particular role of the majority shareholder in any partnership to make sure that if there are issues with performance ultimately, then they're addressed, and if things are going to change, then they need to be brought up. Remember, the role of the 51% owner is not to be the only one that does this stuff, but the 51% owner or the manager of the team is there to make sure that all these conversations actually do happen. Remember, as I said, this is not a physical change, this is an intangible or a mindset change. But if you want your people to have engagement or ownership or take accountability, then you have to offer them engagement and ownership and accountability. And the mindset of being the 51% owner, which comes from Peter Block, is the best one I know for helping you to adopt practices and conversations that are more likely to lead things in this direction. That's all for now. If you want to learn about how to put this into action practically, just get in touch with me. Usual socials work. Otherwise, subscribe to my blog, zenorganisations.com. You'll get the article that goes along with this, as well as the next video into your inbox next week. I'll see you next time.